Today, I am going to tell you how you can maximize your salt and pepper on a Utopian platform. Hi, I am Eliziam and welcome to my channel. And once again, I am joined by Andrew, who is here to tell us how we can maximize our salt and pepper on a Utopian platform. Hi, Andrew, how are you?
Hi, Eliziam, I'm good. Thank you very much for having me back again.
Well, thank you for being here. Since you wrote the amazing algorithms behind the Utopian platforms, I am delighted that you are here to tell us all how to maximize our salt and pepper balance, because don't forget, the Utopian community, your wallet balance, your salt and pepper increases depending on how engaged and how much you participate. So, Andrew, you're the man who wrote the key to success. So maybe you can tell us how it works.
I certainly can. The first thing to remember is that everything to do with salt and pepper is tied into that algorithm that you've heard mentioned in a number of videos in the past, total state of presence, or TSoP. And being successful with salt and pepper is also about being successful with TSoP, because there are other reasons to make the algorithm work in your favor. It's not just about what your wallet has in it. So for example, Eliziam, if you'd like to just bring up the tribe members page, and if we look at page 1.
My pleasure. Oh my goodness.
Oh, look who's at number 1.
Well, it was you. I've recently knocked you off the top spot. So go on, tell us what's going on here.
Well, I'm at number 3 at the moment, so I need to pull my socks up. But yes, so TSoP actually also has a bearing on where you are in what we call the members index, and the members index is reflected through the tribe members. So the position you are on the page that you're on is all down to how well you're performing with your total state of presence. And most of that is a measurement of your engagement. Now, there are different ways that you can be engaged, and there are different ways that you can score total state of presence points. There's something that's a little bit like going to the gym for a HIIT workout. It's a big hit of points, but then it depreciates over time, so it's not sustainable, but it will get you somewhere quickly. And then there's the more sustainable but slower way of scoring points. And what's interesting with the page that you're on is that we've got a good mix of different strategies going on this page. So we've got at number 1 a certain Eliziam. Now, Eliziam, you actually score really, really well through the creative state, mostly because you are constantly publishing to the library, but also you are in the caves and you're posting poetry and haikus and you're commenting on people's poetry, and all the time that's also scoring you some points. Now, when you score through creative, that's not sustainable. So you score much bigger numbers of points, but it depreciates once a week. On a Saturday night, you'll see the scores just going down a little bit. So if you're relying purely on what you're putting into the library, over time you'll see your points fade away. So you have to either keep putting things into the library, keep pumping things out, or you have to find more sustainable ways of keeping that energy going. And the person in number 2, Jim, he actually uses completely the opposite to you. So he basically publishes a lot to the caves. Now, cave publishing scores you a lot less in terms of TSoP, but it doesn't depreciate. So when you score it, it's there to stay. So if you're scoring quite a lot through that, that will actually put you in a quite high position. And then me in number 3, I actually use both methods as a hybrid. So I put a little bit in the library, and I actually also put a little bit into the caves. And then you've got Vasia. She's very much putting stuff into the caves and so on. So you're seeing some good variation there. What this tells us about the algorithm is that it's nicely balanced. It tells us that you don't have to have one specific way of using the system to be successful. You can do it one way or you can do it the other, but you can get success in both ways.
So I've got a question for you. Let me just flick over to my dashboard, and every Utopian user has their own access to their dashboard so that they can see how their total state of presence is looking, how healthy it is, and then you can gauge how to improve your performance. So if we have a look at mine, I don't mind sharing, it's okay, then you'll see that my physical presence is okay. My visual presence is pretty hot, but my active presence is really quite poor. So, Andrew, what am I doing wrong? How can I improve my active presence and push my TSoP even higher?
Active presence, it's a reflection of some of the things that you're actually doing perhaps on a daily basis within the site. Active presence in terms of active percent, which is what you're referring to with your 11%, that's actually calculated daily. So what the algorithm does is it looks across all of the members. It looks to see who the most successful member is, the most active person in the community is for that day.
Okay.
And it gives them 100%. And then everybody else is given a ranking according to whether they're the next best, the next best, the next best, the next best. And their algorithm score and their ranking is then taken into account, and it's given as a percent of the best person. So the second best person might be 87% as good as the best person. Or in my case, today I'm 54%. But tomorrow that could change, and it will typically change every day unless you're the number one person, in which case you keep it going, you'll be 100% every day. But I would suggest it's a lot to ask to be 100% every day. You can then score some extra points with badges. Now, you do actually score badges, you do actually score badge scores through visual presence. But visual presence is more a reflection of how many badges you actually got, whereas the active present badge score is different. That actually works your score out according to what we call badge rankings. And what you might not realize is that when you're awarded a badge, your badge will actually have a ranking. The harder the badge is to get, the higher the ranking will be. The higher the ranking is, the more points that badge is scoring. So the badges score in active presence is actually more reflective of how difficult the badges are you're scoring. So for example, I think you have quite a lot of badges, but I think you have a lot of level 1 badges. If you were to go and have a look at somebody like, yeah, exactly. So if you were to go and look at somebody like Jim or Gordon, who have got level 3s or just coming into level 4s, they're scoring a lot more points for having potentially less badges than you. So that's why when you get to active presence, the badge score doesn't seem to be quite in line with the number of badges you've got. It's more how difficult it was to get that badge. The P average and the P score are really about how interactive you are within the site itself. So it's not enough to just come into the site and say, right, I've logged in, I'm going to log out now. The algorithm's actually looking to see whether you log in and do things. How long are you on pages? What pages do you visit? What do you do when you're on those pages? P average and page score are really looking at how interactive you are with the site when you're there. It's not going to just accept, oh, you just logged in and you logged out. It's looking to see you've actually done something. Files shared, that's actually files that you've uploaded to the file share system, which is in the resources section of the site. And published, again, it's a reflection of things that you've published to the library, but in a different way. And I would suggest your published score in active presence is potentially quite high. What have you got in that?
No, it's only 0.41.
Yeah, but mine is only 0.08. So that is pretty high compared to me.
Oh, okay, I understand. So what you're saying then is that if I take more quests to get more badges, then that will increase my active presence score. If I keep on logging in and visiting lots of pages and doing lots of stuff, then that will also increase. And if I stick some more files up and share some more files.
Yeah, it's basically a measurement of how engaged and active you are when you're in the site. And we're not saying, oh, you have to go and do all of these things. Different people use the sites in different ways. As we said at the beginning, some people come in, they're in the caves, they're posting their poetry, their short stories, they're commenting on people's short stories and poetry, and that's actually scoring them points. Others are posting blogs, they're posting books or videos or whatever to the library. A few are doing both, but ultimately you don't need to score high on all of those sections. You just choose the sections that suit you and look to make those sections the best you can for you.
Well, if you look at my creative presence, you'll see here that my videos are up at 40.2. So I mean that I have got a lot of videos, and thank you for helping me upload those. Now, white papers, I'm doing okay. I've got 7.1. But all of the others are a minus score. So I've got a minus score for books and for blogs and for pods and for articles. Oh,
yes. So creative is really the anchor for TSoP. It's the big hit if you want to score points quickly. But every Saturday, those points are going to go down a little bit. And if you're not actually doing anything with creative presence, it doesn't matter. You're still going to get that negative pull, because remember, TSoP has a gravity towards zero. And the reason for that is to encourage you to be interactive and to be engaged. Now, we've talked about this before. We don't think that it's healthy for people to have to be logging in every day. We don't think that people should even be sitting at the screen every day. It's not healthy. They should have interest away from their technology. But I would say if you're logging in three, four times a week, more if you want, but 3-4 times a week and being active and engaged, that's enough to keep your score above water. And if you're posting plenty of stuff to the caves, or you're putting stuff into the library, you'll find that your score is going to definitely be going in a good direction, not a negative direction. And the one that's a real gimme is the visual presence. So with visual presence, really, if your profile has got everything in it you can put in it, you're going to be scoring relatively high in that. I would say anything over 1.3 is a decent score for profile. I'm 1.45 on that without really trying that hard. So if you look at your profile score on visual presence and you're below 1.3, you should be looking to see what else can I add to my profile to try and push that up. You're scoring on your photograph, you're scoring on if you have a video, do you have a bio, have you put in what your genres are, those sorts of things. They all are scoring points through the algorithm. And views, you don't have any control of views. Views is how many times people have looked at your profile.
okay.
Badges, that's how many badges you've actually got in visual presence. That it doesn't matter about how hard it was to get, it was just how many do you have. So I would imagine your badge score on visual presence is reasonably good. And your creative, again, that reflects on what you're doing over on the creative presence, but it's scored in a slightly different way, and then you're getting a ranking compared to what everybody else has achieved. I would say anything in the yellow on visual presence or above is good. What have you got on
that? In visual presence, I am in the green with 88.64%.
So you're beating me. I'm 71.42, so you're doing really, really well there. And then physical presence, again, I'd say anything over sort of 70% is a decent score. It's not particularly difficult to score in physical presence.
60 is all right, though, right?
Well, you see, 60% tells me a lot about the way you're using the site, Eliziam.
So I can see that I've got 31 inactive days, which is shocking. Those are days that I should have been not messing around making videos, which has increased my creative score, but I should have been interacting on the site instead. And you can't fake that.
I would say that inactive days you're okay. Again, it comes back to this whole thing of not encouraging people to be in every day, and you're not marked down by the algorithm for inactive days. So what you want to be avoiding is inactive periods. So you will be depreciated on inactive periods. If you've got any there, you'll see your TSoP will decline.
No, I'm 0 there.
Yeah, that's fine.
And this ranking here, my community presence, this is the same ranking that you see on the members page, right?
Yeah, so my community presence, this is basically a whole bunch of totals, with the total points being your total TSoP score, your total state of presence across the whole site. Now, the other thing that you'll notice in the My Community Presence section is that there's a row dedicated to social presence. Now, when we designed TSoP as an algorithm, we actually designed it to have 6 different states of presence. But we actually launched Scribal with only 4. Social presence is actually the 5th, and we've just in the last few weeks started to weave social presence in, which is why it's in the totals, but you're not actually seeing the breakdown for it yet further down. As we go forward, you'll see a breakdown start to appear further down, and you'll start to see some other aspects being added into social presence. At the moment, social presence only scores you for what you're doing in the caves. So if you're active in the caves, you'll be seeing a good score there. Jim, Gordon, Vasia, certainly I would think Vanessa, they'll have very decent scores in social presence. Mine is 2.0, and I can see unranked 5th in social presence. So yeah, I would say the 4 I've just named are above me with much higher scores. What will be coming into social presence within the design of the algorithm will also be things such as giving ratings or giving reviews to anything that's in the library. That's definitely coming into social presence. And there are a few other bits and bobs too, but I don't want to spoil the fun on that.
Brilliant. Thank you ever so much. Now, if you want to maximize your score with your total state of presence in order to increase your salt and pepper balance, you can follow any of the advice that you have heard given here today. You can also check the site, because I think that you will find a handy guide on how to increase your scores on the site. That's right, isn't it, Andrew?
Yeah, when you're on the dashboard, if you look at the top right corner there, Eliziam, you can see there's a question mark. You just want to click on that. It brings up an FAQ, and that will allow you to see some tips and hints on how to do better with your scoring. And also, there are a few videos already that we've done over the last few weeks, which potentially could prove to be helpful too.
Excellent. Andrew, thank you so much for your time. Thanks for joining us and helping us out. There is just enough time for me to ask you to like, subscribe, and to put that alert notification on so that you never miss an episode. And remember, if you like this channel, don't tell me, tell your friends. I'll see you next time.